tens of thousands getting hit by a massive service outage. An industry source telling CNN that there's no indication, at least of now, of a cyber attack. But they are still investigating what's going on. AT&T customers seem to be facing widespread issues. The company just acknowledged to CNN they're experiencing disruptions to its network, saying, quote, "We are working urgently to restore service to them." Let's bring in CNN's Brian Fung, who's tracking the outage and the response as it's been kind of unfolding this morning. Also with us is senior national security analyst Juliette Kayyem. Brian, what is the latest on these outages and the disruptions?
Yeah, Kate, as of right now, we've seen tens of thousands of user reports on the website downdetector.com, mostly from AT&T customers saying they're having trouble placing calls, not having service. And we've seen numerous reports from emergency services around the country saying you may have trouble reaching 911 if you're an AT&T customer.
The AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile outages took everyone by surprise. I'm with AT&T, so I should say that I was more so inconvenienced than outraged by the outage. But thank God I did not panic or get into an uproar trying to figure out what was going on. There was a piece within me that thought, well, okay, it is what it is, and I'll just wait until the network is back up and running. Of course, there were several conspiracies and verbiage going around that it was due to a cyber attack, but this was eventually ruled out. There were several things that became evident during the outages and the aftermath of the panic that must be talked about, and that's our extreme dependence on technology and how we as a society quickly go into a panic and outrage if our world is altered by the slightest thing. Don't get me wrong, technology is great if used wisely. And it's helpful to have, especially with keeping in touch with loved ones and family. It's also a necessity for first responders, police officers, and the like. But I encourage everyone to take a step back and analyze who and what you're putting your faith in, and what will be your response if and when something more impactful happens. As a Christian, the foundation of our faith is total dependence on God. Yes, He has blessed us with intelligence, gifts, and passions to create specific things in life, such as cell phones and computers. But we must never allow these things to become first in our lives. If we trust and depend on Him for our salvation, we must trust and depend on Him for everyday well-being. Proverbs 3:5 tells us to trust in the Lord with all your heart and to lean not on your own understanding. So when outages such as this arise in the future, we should stand firm and trust that God has everything under control. As I look back over my life, it's actually a good thing that life abruptly got altered and my plans were changed. This is great because it keeps us grounded and in total dependence of God. On Thursday, the company said it believed the massive outage was caused by an internal issue. Based on our initial review, we believe that today's outage was caused by the application and execution of an incorrect process used as we were expanding our network, not a cyber attack, AT&T said in a statement on its website. We are continuing our assessment of today's outage to ensure we keep delivering the service that our customers deserve. According to an industry source who spoke on the condition of anonymity, the root of the outage appeared to be related to how cellular services hand off calls from one network to the next, a process known as peering. My initial thoughts was that the outage was caused by me updating to the most recent iOS software, but apparently not. That begs the question of, again, who do we have our faith in? God or man-made things of this world? Clearly, the networks are not perfect and are somewhat faulty. In stark contrast to this, God is perfect and is incapable of faltering. His very nature is supreme and consistent. Depending on God alone doesn't mean we forego using the gifts and common sense that we've been blessed with. For example, a person with a sore tooth may refuse to go to the dentist saying, I'm going to depend on God alone to heal me and not take any medicine. Or a person driving a car may close his or her eyes and let go of the steering wheel, saying, I'm going to trust in God alone to drive me home. These actions would be foolish and are outright dumb. God has provided us with doctors and medicines to help us heal. He has given us the wits to steer an automobile. We can still depend on God as we visit the doctor or dentist, knowing that all healing ultimately comes from Him alone. And we can still depend on Him as we drive, knowing that all our safety ultimately comes from God. So who do you run to when it seems that your world is falling apart? Or should I say, what do you run to? We all have a specific bend toward what makes us feel good in the moment, knowing that it's only temporary. Do you run to social media on your phone, thinking that technology will always be available? Or do you run to God at all times? I'm not judging or pointing the finger because I'm guilty of not trusting in God at all times. You may ask, well, what does God have to do with the outages? My answer to that is He has everything to do with the outages because the power of the world is in His hands. Nothing happens without Him allowing it to. Yes, even cell phone networks and how they operate. So how should we truly go about our lives on a daily basis? We should refuse to worry and know that God cares for His children. Something more catastrophic may happen, but know that God is the ultimate protector. Learn to cast all your anxiety on Him because He cares for you. That can be found in 1 Peter 5:7. Let me know in the comments below if you were affected by the outages. Trust in God and always strive to remain set apart. Take care.